All right, let's go a little deeper. The three traditions in sociology arise from a disagreement over one fundamental question. And that question is this: what's the basic unit or the basic building block of society? All right, different disciplines have different basic units, right? An economist, it might be a measure or unit of money of some kind. To a biologist, it might be a cell. But what is the basic unit for a sociologist? Now you might say, well, a person, right? We study people or society. And that's true, but how then would that be different than any other social science? Psychologists also study people, anthropologists, so on. Here's where the disagreement lies. There are three traditions in sociology that would answer the question differently. And to this day, some people will still find themselves drawn towards one of these three traditions or camps more than the other. So to one tradition, they say, well, the basic building block of society is struggle. As difficult as that might be, that's the reality of the harsh world we live in. We're hyper-competitive people, sometimes prone to violence, and we create arbitrary ways to divide ourselves and then to compete and to have conflict. And we divide ourselves up in a ton of ways. And in one given society, it might be class or race or gender or nationality or language or religion. The list can go on. But we'll come up with ways, culture after culture, time after time, to divide ourselves and then to compete and conflict. And that the key task of the sociologist is to understand those power struggles. Then another tradition says, well, hold on. While competition and conflict certainly exists, that's not the basic building block. The basic building block is systems, right? So imagine a computer, right? There's a bunch of functioning parts that all work together, right? Imagine the human body. We have a respiratory system and a circulatory system and a skeletal system and a bunch of other systems that come together, integrate, and make a functioning person, greater than the sum of its parts, right? And the argument is that society is the same. There might be political systems and economic systems, familial, religious, pop culture systems, but all of these systems integrate together somehow, and the result is greater than the sum of its parts. That's how society is made, and the task is to map out those systems and understand how they work. Another tradition says, okay, hold on. Those are both great. Struggle is real. The struggle is real. And systems are certainly in place. But at the most basic level, society is created out of shared human meaning. If I agree with you about certain norms, values, behaviors, language, words, and what they mean, then we have created our own little reality. And for another group that has a different set of norms, values, language, their social world is completely different. And that society is actually made up of symbols, all the little symbols that represent the habits and behaviors and terms and artifacts that we build, and that society ultimately is built of these symbols. And that the task then is to interpret the meaning within these symbols in different cultures. Now, that's not all. There are also tensions. So, on one hand, there are these three traditions, and they have a different understanding of what the basic building block of society is. But they disagree also on some other more fundamental philosophical questions about society. And the three questions are the question of social order, social knowledge, and social change. And we'll address those now, one by one.